Yes, good morning everyone. Yes, good morning everyone. Yes, very good morning to all of you. Welcome back. Am I audible to all of you? Yes, everyone. Am I audible to all of you? Yes, Sachinte, good morning. PT, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Good. Yes, everyone. Again, let me introduce myself. Those who are new here, my name is Harshvardhan Singh, and I'm here to teach you international relation. On this platform, I'm going to conduct the lectures of world history, all other aspects of history and economics, including history optional as well. I have experience of 8 years in the field of civil services as an educator. Next, those who haven't taken subscription of Unacademy, I request you to have a subscription of it because it will help you a lot, and it is one of the low cost platform available for you at your doorstep at your own convenience. We have option of 1 month, 3 months, 6 months and 12 months. I insist you to have a 12-month subscription. We have both the choices of plus and iconic. I insist you to have a iconic iconic subscription because we are going to provide everything in the iconic subscription including the study plan, personal feedback and everything. Okay? So for further details you can visit our website, and those who want to take the admission or those who want to take subscription, you can use my code. This is my code, HarshV10 is my code. Yes, please. Yes, so today we are going to discuss the another important aspect in the bilateral relation in the neighboring state, that is India Sri Lanka. Yes, today we are going to discuss Indo Sri Lanka relationship. This is the map of India and Sri Lanka. If you watch it carefully, you will get to know that our distance, means India and Sri Lanka, are very close to each other. And here the Rameshwaram is there. Here is another location of Sri Lanka. Means, as some of you quite aware of this word, Adams Bridge, or it is also known as Ram Setu. So it is a connectivity between this Palak Strait and Gulf of Mannar. This is the area where the ships are going from this area. But as you know that these ships are lightweight ships. Why? Because sea is not that much deep in this area. And Gulf of Mannar, you know, one most important thing related to the Gulf of Mannar, that is biodiversity. Biodiversity is there in Gulf of Mannar. We had a close relation with the Sri Lanka, but sometimes our relationship was normal. Sometimes means basically the ups and downs in our relationship with the Sri Lanka. But this up and down doesn't mean enmity. We never had enmity with the Sri Lanka. We never considered Sri Lanka as an enemy country, the same way Sri Lanka never considered India as an enemy country. We always have a cordial relationship, but some up and down were present in this relationship. Clear? So those who joined just now, I just want to tell you one more thing. Yesterday we discussed Indo-Bangladesh relationship, the first part of Indo-Bangladesh relationship, and those who haven't gone through that, you have option. Just go to YouTube channel and please watch the recorded video of it. In the last lecture, we discussed about the Indo-Bangladesh in all the aspects, the cultural ties, historical ties, along with that the current means the situation developed in 1990 till today. But there are some aspects also left, and those aspects we are going to cover in special classes. So the part 2 of Indo-Bangladesh relationship we are going to discuss in the special classes. Okay. Now here, as you can see, the proximity of Tamil Nadu with the Sri Lanka. So it's very near to the Tamil Nadu. So don't you think it's very easy for Tamilians to enter into Sri Lanka and settle there? Yes, don't you think so? And there were historical reasons as well. There were historical reasons as well. So that's why Tamilians settled in northern area as the close proximity is there. So Tamilians settled in this area from centuries. Okay. Now, background of Indo-Sri Lanka relation, how Indo-Sri Lanka relation evolved with the time. As you know that Sri Lanka was British colony. Am I right or wrong? Or whether Sri Lanka was under French or Portuguese rule? Yes, whether Sri Lanka was under British rule or whether Sri Lanka was under French or Portuguese rule. Or whether Sri Lanka was an independent country like Egypt but influenced by British. Yes, what do you think? Yes, Nilesh, Achintya, Preeti, Ashwini. What do you think? Yes, I'm waiting for your reply. Yes, 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 yes. You mentioned yes. What? Yes. I don't get you. I didn't get you. What do you want to say? Whether they were British colony, whether they were French colony, or whether they were Portugali colony, or they were the independent state like Egypt, but influenced by European colonial master. Ashwini said that it was under British rule. It was under British rule. Really? What about others? Yes, what about others? What do you think? No reply? Oh, oh. Was it so difficult question? Achintya said Sri Lanka was under British rule from 1815 to 1848. Yes, yes, yes. Don't get confused. And why? If you don't know which country rule, and if you have a common sense, then you will get the answer. How? Sri Lankan cricket team is there, Indian cricket team is there, Pakistani cricket team is there, Bangladeshi cricket team is there. And cricket is a game of Britain. Cricket is a game of Britain. And you know, whenever there is a match, even Sri Lankan can speak fluent English. How it is possible? Because of the colonial masters. How we can speak English? Because we had a legacy of colonial past and it was British. So whenever you get confused, simple thing, cricket was common everywhere in Indian subcontinent and it is because British rule our area. Yes. So Sri Lanka got their independence 1 year after India. That is in 48 Sri Lanka got independent. But at that time Sri Lanka was known as Ceylon. Sri Lanka was known as Ceylon. This name Sri Lanka they get in 1972 as Ceylon changed their name to Sri Lanka in 1972. If we consider the ethnicity of Sri Lanka, means basically we are going to talking about the demographic structure of Sri Lanka population wise. So the most important section of Sri Lankan society is Sinhali. Sinhali. This ethnicity is in majority. Another important majority group present, that is Tamils. As we mentioned, because of the close proximity with India, so it's very easy for Tamilians to settle. This is the one thing, but the historical reason was different, and that is colonial masters required laborers for plantation industries. So they bring Indian laborers with them and they kept them in Sri Lanka. And when these laborers stay there for long, they stay there forever. That means they made Sri Lanka as their homeland. Originally, these people were from India, but colonial rulers asked them, and because of that, they migrated to that country and they settled there for centuries. So now it's their homeland as well. Another important thing in recent times, Indian Tamils also settled into that area, and Muslim population, that is Sri Lankan Moors, it is known as. This Muslim population is also another ethnicity present there. So if we consider Sri Lanka, the four most important group were basically the most important group is Sinhali population. Then the second most important group is Tamil, and rest groups are like this. Here is Muslim, here is Indian Tamil and others. Clear to everyone? During the British time, all were having equal rights, whether you have Sinhali or you are Tamilian or you are anything. All are having equal rights. Means the one rule is apply for all. Even there was a limited franchisee was there. In that limited franchisee, there was no discrimination among Sinhalese and Tamilians. Means both are treated equally. But what happened after their independence? Sinhalese were in majority, and Sinhalese one-sided. They changed the political scenario. They changed the political structure, and one fine day they made this decision. In 1949, Tamilians were disfranchised. Tamilians were disfranchised. Disfranchised means, yes, everyone, what it means, disfranchised, and what's the impact of it? Yes, Ashwini, Preeti, Achintya. Where is Akshay? Akshay is not there. Yes, everyone. What do you think? What is disfranchise? And if you know the meaning, then please tell me what's the impact of Disfranchisement. Yes, I'm waiting for your answer. Yes. What is disenfranchisement? Hmm. Fast. Nile said to take away the right to vote. Ashwini, yes, they take away their rights. Rights means basically voting right. Disenfranchise, yes, exactly. Disenfranchise means taking away the voting right. First thing, mostly, most important right is voting right. So, what's the impact of it then? Yes, exactly. Whatever you said, exactly. What's the impact of it? What do you think? What's the impact of disfranchisement? Yes, everyone. I'm waiting for your reply. Suppose, forget about it. Let's take it your example. If any particular government take away your voting right, then what? Don't you considered as a citizen? Nele said tracking as second class citizen. Ashwini said revolt. Are you mad? For this normal sense you're going to revolt? We are in democratic country, and in democratic country we have a right. If our right is taken away, then we can opt the another option, that is protest. Yes, Preeti said that no representation of the people leads to discontent. Okay, no say in policy making. Yes, exactly. So let's take example here. If the rights, let's take it, forget about Sri Lanka. First, we are going to discuss this basic concept, and then we are going to discuss in terms of Sri Lanka. Let's take example. Suppose your government is taking away your right. They said that okay, why you required voting right when I'm an efficient person, and I'm telling you the hypothetical situation. It doesn't have a relevance anywhere, any place in the world. It is a hypothetical. Suppose your government took your voting right. They said that why you required voting when I am the efficient person working for you 20 hours, 18 hours a day rigorously without any expectation, then why you require voting right? And some of the people might think, oh yes, that is there. Why we require? We already chose that person. Why do it? And if you lost your right, then what will be the case? Whatever you mention, it comes into reality. How? That you are considered as a citizen, yes, but you are not considered as an equal citizen. You're considered as a secondary citizen. Means you are the citizen without rights. Means if something, if government design any policy which is against you, you do not have any say in that. You cannot oppose them, because while you are going to oppose, they are going to suppress you. Clear? This is the first thing. The second most important thing, your presence in that country, it doesn't matter to that country. Means whether you are alive or not, they don't care about it. Clear? Yes, Nilay, Akshay, it leads to loss of independence. Yes, of course. Independence in the all form, political, social, economic, cultural, religious, it consists of all. You are going to lose your identity as an individual. So that's why we always mention voting right is the most important. And if you're going to lose that, you're going to lose your stake in the democracy, because you, me, and all are the stakeholder in the democracy. And if anybody is taking away voting right, that means they are going to take our stake. Clear? So coming back to our point, suddenly in 1949, Singhali government in Ceylon, they took away voting rights or the rights of Tamilians. And one day, in that particular day, Tamilians became the stateless people. Yes, Tamilians became stateless people. They don't have a state because their state is not considering them as their citizens. They said that you are not belonging here, you are belonging to India, go to India. I think such type of slogans are very common nowadays. Go to India. You are Tamilian, why you are staying here? It's not your land. If you say anything against us, go to India. Why would they go? Because if you know the human history, migration is an important aspect of it. All are migrated. You, me, and all are migrated from one place to another, another to another. But because of presence or evolution of the concept of nation state, people became mad and they considered migration as an illegal thing. Yes, they considered migration. And this migration was basically happened much more before Sri Lanka became an independent nation state. So now for centuries they were staying there. How can you consider them as a illegal citizen or illegal people? Let's take your example. Suppose your parents belongs to any particular states in India, for example, Rajasthan, and your parents or forefathers they migrated from Rajasthan to Maharashtra and they stayed there for long. Don't you think so that after 3, 4 generation, the people who migrated from Rajasthan is going to acquire all the characters of that particular state? It is going to happen, and it happened with them as well. When these Tamilians, when these Tamilians migrated from this area to Sri Lanka, they settled there. They considered Sri Lanka as their homeland, and suddenly Sinhalese ended their identity. Now, here, because of that reason, Tamilians became a stateless people. Tamilians became stateless. Their presence or non-present doesn't matter to the state. Clear? And this disenfranchisement, this discrimination of Tamilians was institutionalized in 1956 in the form of Act. In 1956, Sri Lanka signed an act and they enacted that act which institutionalized this discrimination. Means none of the government institution allow Tamilians to be part of it. Yes, if the government job is there, Tamilian won't have stake. If election is there, Tamilian don't have any stake in that. So basically, this is right now in 56 onwards. It's the official policy of Sri Lanka. Yes, it's the official policy of Sri Lanka to discriminate the Tamilians so that they are going to discourage them, and finally, because of this discouragement, frustration, Tamilians are going to leave this country. Okay, so it was the case. But as Preeti said, no representation of people leads to discontent. Yes, because of this discrimination, there was a discontent among the Tamilians, and when this discrimination was institutionalized, at that time, Tamilians have what we can say anger over this policy, and this anger, this discontent came out in the form of formation of LTTE, LTTE or Liberation Tigers of Tamil Elam. This LTTE claimed that they are representing a nation state. Their idea was also clear that as you are not going to consider us as a citizen, then we don't want you to be rule us. So formation of Litte was based on this idea that you are not going to recognize us as a citizen, so we are going to form our own nation state. And this Litte, that is LTTE, was one of the most important problems in Sri Lanka. They faced this problem for a long, and not only Sri Lanka suffered because of it, India is also beneficiary of this problem. India also suffered because of this. One very famous person, as some of you know, his name is Prabhakaran. He was the head of LTTE. Yes. And what's the idea? Formation of Tamil Ilam, that is Tamil country, a separate Tamil country for it. Okay. So to end this problem, as 1776 Tamil Ilam was formed, means LTTE formed. In 1787, India Sri Lanka made an agreement to end this civil war. With the formation of LTTE, civil war broke out between Tamilians and Sri Lankans. Actually, don't worry, I'm going to tell you how India suffered because of that. As the civil war broke out, and civil war is a situation, worst situation, always remember. War is far better than civil war, because war, I'm not supporting either civil war or any type of war. I support peace only. But when you compare this thing, as in the war, decisive result is always there. Either you are going to win or you are going to lose. That is the two aspect. But if it is a civil war, then this war is prolonged war, and there is no decisive result in that. Neither you emerge as a victor nor you emerge as a loser. This is a continuous process, and because of that, there is a huge losses of lives as well as resources. Clear? So India as a neighboring state, and we had a friendly relation with Sri Lanka. So we want to help Sri Lanka to end this war, end this civil war. And how that how India and Sri Lanka signed an agreement to end the civil war. Clear? And through this agreement, IPKF sent to Sri Lanka. Yes, exactly. I think yes. Operation Pawan. IPKF. What is that? Indian Peacekeeping Force. Why we sent this thing? Why we sent? Our intention is to mediate. Our intention was basically to mediate between Sri Lanka and LTTE. Our intention is to mediate between government and LTTE. Those who are new here, they knew this thing. Somehow I broke the pen of my pen tab. So because of that reason, I don't have right now and I'm using the mouse. So sometimes you may face the problem while reading this thing. Please listen it carefully. And once again, I'm really sorry for the inconvenience caused by me. Clear? IPKF, that is, they want to mediate between government and LTTE. Clear? Intention was good, but what happened? Instead of mediating, situation was such that India involved into that. India involved into that, and finally India became enemy. Means why India entered to mediate between government and LTTE. Later on, India involved from the side of government, and third step was there that LTTE considered India as the enemy. And most important thing, it is a really painful thing for all of us, that is India suffered lot because of Indian peacekeeping force. Indian army suffered lot. How? Indian army lost their soldiers, officers in that. As India always a follower of policy of NAM, that is non-alignment movement, and one most important aspect of non-alignment movement was, yes, what do you think? What's the most important aspect of NAM? Mutual respect of each other territories, along with that no interference in the internal matter of any country. So somehow, I didn't say that we violated, but somehow we diluted this thing in Sri Lanka. Our intention was noble, but with the entry into Sri Lanka and involvement into that, finally we became a country which opposes LTT and we involved in civil war. And India lost our soldiers and officers in that war. And it was not profitable at all for us. Means we do not want territory, we do not want financial aid from Sri Lanka. We had a noble intention to end the civil war, but later on it emerged as a disaster state for India. Yes, and it's what you can say, a painful thing for Indian army as well, Indian peacekeeping force. As you know that with the change in the government, with the change in government and new government came earlier that time when IPKF sent to Sri Lanka. At that time, Rajiv Gandhi was the Prime Minister of India, but later on, VP Singh became the Prime Minister of India, and he called Indian forces out of Sri Lanka, and it was really important step taken by then Prime Minister, and it was required because India was suffering from losses at that time. And yes, Akshay, you asked me how India suffered. This is the first reason India suffered, that is, the Indian army suffered. Second most important thing is assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi, as we mentioned while Designing the Indian Foreign Policy. Those who haven't attended that classes, please I request you to attend the recorded lectures of Evolution of Indian Foreign Policy. We mentioned the three steps in that, so please watch these lectures as well. So, assassination of Rajiv Gandhi was a setback for India in many aspects. Forget about any ideology, but that person was a visionary person. He was having ideas, clear, and he was a person who convinced then government as well as then political party that India should pursue the policy of friendship with the neighboring country. Along with that, he doesn't want India to be weak in economic prospect, and that's why he promoted technology. And because of that reason, we are close to each other. Earlier, it was not the case. So, assassination of Rajiv Gandhi was a very setback for India because he was not assassinated in Sri Lanka. He was assassinated in our territory. By whom? By the member of LTTE. As LTTE wants to take revenge, and the situation why they assassinate this person, the reason was very clear that it was a time of election it was a time of election in India, and opinion polls were showing that Rajiv Gandhi is again going to form the government. And LTTE was having that fear. If Rajiv Gandhi is again going to become Prime Minister, then he is going to send IPKF to Sri Lanka. So that's why they don't want Rajiv Gandhi to do that. So they sent their terrorist, and at that time, whatever the securities, the SPG force and all, whatever you know, it was developed after that time only. Earlier, meeting this, what we can say, the political leaders was not difficult task. But with that assassination, India lost one of the important political leader at early age. So this is a loss for India. Another important thing, it is a setback for Indian Army as well, because we had a record of glorious past. India, whenever and wherever Indian Army sent for peacekeeping mission, they did their job wonderfully. Yes, so we had that glorious past, but this setback was acted as a stigma over our image. Clear? So it was a case, and finally, the civil war ended in 2009. How Sri Lankan launched army operation, military operation in that civil war, and that leads to the killing of LTTE members, including Kabaka. And why they started this military operation, that is also important. I just want, as most of you are not aware of this thing, that's why I'm telling you the story behind it, how this military operation started, and why they think that now it is a need to end it. Because pre 2009, the situation was that it was a group of insurgents known as LTTE. They are angry because Sri Lankan government is disenfranchised them, so they want separate state. Sri Lanka doesn't want that. So sometimes dialogues were there, sometimes conflicts were going on and all. But one event happened, and that was airstrike. As I was a student like you, means when this was a thing, and I was a beginner in the field of civil services. At that time, one wonderful cartoon was there in the Hindu, and the cartoon was having a very thing. I just want to explain. Sri Lankan, so they show Sri Lankan soldiers and whole jungle is there. Sri Lankan soldiers were searching below, means they were looking down in the jungle where is tigers, means pug marks of tigers, means basically it is symbolized of LTTE. They were searching the pug marks of tiger, and in that cartoon only, while Sri Lankan army was searching in land, there was an air attack from LTTE, and above that soldier, it is just like an aeroplane at bombarding Sri Lanka. So this cartoon was very significant explanation of what happened at that time. And this airstrike gave Sri Lanka upper hand in international relations that see LTT is not an insurgent right now, they are terrorists and they are bombarding our territory, and it was a proof, and because of that reason Sri Lanka started operation cleansing. Means they started cleansing, means they directly killed everyone irrespective of human rights and all. Clear? This civil wars were ended through military operation. Yes, everyone. Do you have any question? Any query? Yes. Yes, everyone. Anyone is having any question, any query related to Sri Lanka to understand the relation background of Indo-Sri Lanka relation? Akshay asked who support LTT. That time they have their bombarding plane and updated weapon. Who support them? Akshay, enemies are always there. Let me explain with help of example. Do you know this thing that Pakistani Pakistani citizens are entering into India as a terrorist through various ways, either by crossing the border. Yes, first let me explain your first question and then I'm going to explain the Tamil issue. So, Pakistani citizens are entering into India in the form of terrorism. In the means they entered as a terrorist in India. Clear? Either through sea route or through land route or any other route. Okay. But we know one thing that Pakistan's economy is not that much good. Sometimes they have a problem of feeding the people. They don't have food. Yes, their economic condition is worst. Government is not able to cope up all these things. Then how it is possible for them to do so? How it is possible? So the answer is that government is not sponsoring it. There are many countries who sponsor terrorism to destabilize the country. Clear? So there are some groups like for example China. Sometimes China supported them. Yes, sometimes Pakistan government supported. Clear? So enemies are always present here and there. There were enemies of Sri Lanka as well. And these enemies secretly sent this plane. Means basically the plane was not sent like this. Plane was sent in dismantled form. Then again they rebuilt that strength and finally they bombarded through that plane. So enemies of Sri Lanka supported it. And you know that one more thing, a Tamilian diaspora is present in Southeast Asia, and in this Southeast region they are rich people. They are Tamil. They are rich. So they also have a sympathy for them. So they made that arrangement. Now, is that clear? Yes, Akshay, is that clear to you? The next question Akshay asks, does Indian Tamil have a soft corner for them? Of course, we have a soft corner for them because as an Indian citizen, we have Indian citizen, but we know one, do you know one thing? That India is having regional aspirations as well. Regional, what we can say? Yes, Akshay, Tamil diaspora in Indonesia, USA. Okay, good. Yes, Indian Tamil having a soft corner with the LTTE because injustice was there with them. Yes, as I mentioned, Indians, we all are Indian, but we have a regional aspirations as well. Our regional identity is always there. So because of that, they have a soft corner. Clear? And India also wants to solve this problem through debate and through negotiation, through diplomacy. So it is references, though what we can say, we are not going to expose everything in front of the people, in front of the world, but still uh, we had a communication with the leader of LTTE from backdoor. We also did that because we do not want the situation, or we do not want the civil war in Sri Lanka. We want a peaceful neighbor. Clear? Good. So everything is clear to all of you. Now, our relations with the Sri Lanka evolved with the time. How? First, we have what type of relation with the Sri Lanka? We had a historical type of relationship. How? First, cultural relationship with the Sri Lanka as the Tamilians settled into that area. We had a cultural relation, linguistic relation, and religious interaction was also there. It is historical. These all three are historical ties. Religious, as you know that Ashoka sent his son and daughter to Sri Lanka. We had a reference of it. And in history also we had a reference that Ashoka sent one of the root of Bodhi tree of Bodh Gaya. He sent that roots to Sri Lanka and they are also having that Bodhi tree. Clear? So this kind of religious interaction, basically the Buddhist tradition, we share with Sri Lanka. Yes, and you know what? Other than this, I just want to tell you one more thing. Buddhism lost relevance in India for a long, and you know that Dr. Ambedkar revitalized it. Yes, when he adopted Buddhism as a religion, his followers followed the same thing and revival of Buddhism. But before that, Ambedkar studied about various religions and then he considered Buddhism is the best option because of medium path, no extremity, and it based on sociality, equality. Yes, equality concept is there. For that, he studied lots of material and most of them, and even he visited the Sri Lanka. There are many Indian historians, those who are interested in Buddhist history, they have visited Sri Lanka because of this tradition. They preserve Buddhism. The Buddhism means, as you know, there are various branches of Buddhism, but the old branch means the basic teachings of Buddha is there. They followed that branch, Hinayana. So this religious interaction is there. So that's why I mentioned India-Sri Lanka relation. This is symbolized of it. A friendly relation, handshake. So that's why I kept it purposely there. so that you will get to know that we had a cordial relation with them since past, cultural relation with them, linguistic relation with them, and religious interaction with them. So it is a historical fact. Buddhist tradition is there. Anuradhapuram. Anuradhapuram is an important city in North Sri Lanka, and there you will find the Buddhist stupa monasteries. It is having deep impact over Sri Lanka. Clear? So Buddhist tradition was there. Another important historical factor, that is Chola also ruled Sri Lanka. Yes, do you have this reference in medieval India? While studying South Indian history, do you get the reference of it? Yes, everyone. While studying South India, do you get the reference of Chola rule over Sri Lanka? Yes, I'm talking about. Hmm? Do you have this reference? Yes. Do you have this reference? Yes or no? Yes, we get the references that Chola considered Sri Lanka as their colonies. It was an important area for them when Chola expanded their rule from Tamil Nadu. They captured Sri Lanka and their rule extended in Southeast Asia as well. Clear? In 1974, Sri Lanka and India signed a maritime agreement. This is most important. Sri Lanka, yes, Raja Chola, yes, Raja Rajendra, Rajendra Chola, exactly. Oh my God, you all are studying. You're serious about the preparation. Good, that's a good sign. In 1974, India signed a maritime agreement with Sri Lanka. So what exactly it is? Let me explain with help of the first diagram here. Here. Where is that board? Wait. In this agreement, the maritime agreement between India and Sri Lanka, India transferred uninhabited land of Kachatibu to Sri Lanka. Kachatibu to Sri Lanka. Thus, inhabited. Uninhabited means no one was staying there. This island we transferred to Sri Lanka. Now again coming back to this area. Here is Rameshwaram. Yes, here is Rameshwaram. And this Kachatibu is somehow here. This Kachatibu is somewhat here. Yes. This Kachatibu was somewhat here. Actually, this island belongs to India. When the native ruler was present pre-independence time, this island was a part of his territory. And this island was very much important for fishermen as it was uninhabited, since none of the population is there. So this island is around 300-acre land. So fishermen stop there. They uses this as a place to stop or to take a halt. They did their business there, and sometimes they used it as a intermediate thing between India and Sri Lanka. Clear? So it was a beneficiary thing for India. But at the same time, India wants to improve their relation with Sri Lanka, and for that reason, India voluntarily gave this island to Sri Lanka so that we will going to develop a cordial relation with each other. There should not be any dispute further. Clear? So it was a case. So now the situation is that India and Sri Lanka is having cordial relation. Fishery is most important thing in that particular area. And Sri Lanka also allowed Indian fishermen to enter into that area. Means it was common for both Indian and Sri Lankan. So no problem at all during that time. Okay. The next important thing in the relation with Sri Lanka, that India voted in support of Sri Lanka in human rights violation. Means what I just want to explain this thing means, as you know, there is United Nations Council for Protection of Human Rights, and there were many countries who said that Sri Lanka violated human rights while cleansing the Tamil tigers, that is LTTE. But India supported Sri Lanka's claim. They said that no human right violation in Sri Lanka during the civil war. Why it was so? Do you know that? And do means you know that, I know that, everybody knows that Sri Lankan army violated the human rights during the civil war. It's an open secret. But still India denied because we do not want to disturb our relation with the Sri Lanka. We do not want to do that. We want a cordial relationship. So that's why India, whenever the resolution was there, India voted against it. Clear? India was having firm stand that there is no violation of human rights in Sri Lanka. Clear? Next. In 1999, India signed free trade agreement with Sri Lanka, and this agreement came into force in 2000. So since 2000, India and Sri Lanka is having free trade agreement. What's the benefit of free trade agreement? Is there any benefit of free trade agreement, or it's just a normal thing? Yes, is there any benefit of free trade agreement, or it's just for namesake, free trade? Or whether this thing is beneficial for India or whether it is more beneficial for Sri Lanka? Yes, everyone. What do you think? Yes, I'm waiting for your answer. Free trade agreement. What is it, and which country is having more benefit of this agreement? India or Sri Lanka? Ashwini said it eliminates the tariff and encourages the investment. Okay, good, good. That means you are in connection with the economics as well. Good. So when we sign FTA with Sri Lanka, it is more beneficial thing for both the countries. It is not the case that only India is the beneficiary of it or only Sri Lanka is beneficiary of it. It opened the door for India to investment in Sri Lanka. At the same time, Sri Lanka doesn't have any obstacle while pursuing the trade policy with India. So it's a beneficial thing. Next, in 2015, India signed civil nuclear deal. India signed civil nuclear agreement between Sri Lanka and India. So it is a good thing. Civil nuclear deal means, as you all of you knew, that this is an important aspect nowadays. Energy source is required, and we have a sand in Kerala, which is having the content and most important aspect or raw material for nuclear energy. What's that sand? How it is useful? You will get the reference in geography book. Sri Lankan spices and Indian goods imports and exports both are advantages. Yes, exactly. Now you get it. Both have advantage of FTA. It is not a one-way policy. It is a two-way policy. So our relation evolved. Now the issues of concern between India and Sri Lanka relation. Issues of concern for India and Sri Lanka relation. The first issue, that is issue of Tamilians. This is the ethnic issue of Tamilians. So you can, some of you can say that, sir, what's the problem? Yes, Akshay, thorium in Kerala. Yes, but sand, I'm asking about the sand. In which sand you're getting that? So some of you can say that, sir, the issue was over. Civil war ended, and with the end of civil war, there is no such thing, no Tamilian issue. It's the end of civil war, killing of the leaders of LTTE, but conflict is not ended yet. Why? Because Tamilians are still fighting for their rights. This issue was there in the past. This issue is present here as well. How? Let me explain. Since initially, when Sri Lankan refused to identify Tamilians, they said that Tamilians are your citizens, take them away from us. India initially agreed over that, but later on it was not that much easy, because if people are ready, then we don't have any problem. But if people are not ready, then how it is possible for India to forcefully took these people from Sri Lanka to India? So it's not possible. So this issue of ethnicity is still continued, though some improvement is there. Some improvement is there. Even the councils were there, election takes place and all, but still they didn't attain the exact equality in practical sense. Yes, Nilesh, exactly. Monoxide sand. Smart enough. Good. Ethnic issue was present, still present, and issue of Tamilians is still relevant in Sri Lanka. Still, Tamilians are not getting the appropriate place in Sri Lanka. Clear? That is it. Second is issue of fishermen. This is very common issue. Means earlier this was very common issue when in India there were news channels. Yes, once upon time India was also having a news channels, and they gave you the information. Main purpose of news channel at that time were giving information, and this was very common. Means it's a very common news that Sri Lanka arrested Indian fishermen, Indian Navy arrested Sri Lankan fishermen. Why? Is there any game? No, don't you think so? Is there any game that we are capturing there, they are capturing us? What's this thing? This thing was basically related with the island which we discussed earlier, that is Kacha. This is related with this island of Kachati. How it is so? As I mentioned, historically it was a part of India. Indian fishermen went there, stayed there, anchored their ships for fishing industry. Initially it was allowed because it's not a big deal. Initially it was allowed, but later on Sri Lanka adopted a rigid approach in that, and they considered it as a violation of international border, and that's why they arrested them and they put the Indian fishermen in the jail. The same way as you know that if you go through the map, you will get to know the proximity of India and Sri Lanka is so close that sometimes means it's very easy that we are going to cross the border unintentionally. So this fisherman issue was very common or is very common between India and Sri Lanka, and you know that Sri Lanka and India never had enmity with each other. They never torture each other's fishermen. They arrest them, they keep them in jail, and finally they release them in the exchange. Means Sri Lankan fishermen sent to, Indian fishermen sent to, sorry, I means the arrested fishermen, Indian arrested Indian fishermen sent to India and vice versa. Clear? So fishermen issue was is there between India and Sri Lanka relation. Clear? Next, presence of China. Nowadays, this is the most important concern for India. Presence of China in Sri Lanka. And very best example of it, a very best example of it is this port, Hambantota port. This very best example of it. Hambantota port is there. This Hambantota port is right now developing with help of China. China invested here is this Hambantota port. China invested in that. And do you know, if you go through the location, you will get to know this location is most important. Here, here, here is the Hambantota port. And you know what, as I mentioned in the beginning of this lecture, if any bigger ship, heavier ship wants to go from Chennai to suppose Mangalore, if Indian ship wants to, heavy ship wants to go from Chennai to Mangalore, then this is the shortcut route. This is the shortcut route, but it's not possible. Why? Because depth of ocean is very less here. Depth of ocean is very less here. So that's why if any ship wants to go from Chennai to Mangalore, then they have to cross this like this. Means we have to go, means we have to take a turn from Sri Lanka and then we can go ahead. So if China is going to control this port, don't you think so? If in future there will be a war between India and China, China is going to act against India so swiftly from here. Clear? So Chinese investment in there in Hambantota port, and India was not happy with that, but it was a decision of sovereign state. So India was helpless. India tried to convince, but it was helpless, and it is said that it is the Chinese policy of encircling India, known as string of pearls. Clear? It is a string of pearls. So this point is clear to all of you. Good. So presence of China, and China wants to develop the other ports as well. It is not the case that China is happy with by developing Hambantota port. China is not happy with that. China wants to develop such type of ports, and that's why it is matter of concern for India. Along with that, India was also interested in developing such ports, not to tackle China, not just to tackle China, but they really want to have a good relation with the Sri Lanka. They really want to help Sri Lanka. So that's why India is also interested in that. And one more, I forgot to mention that example. India is interested in this port. Yes, India is interested in this port, that is Trichonmai port. India wants to develop this port with Sri Lanka. So we want this port. China is having control over this port. So India is interested in this port, Trichonmai port. Clear? Next, economic and trade cooperation. Economic cooperation and trade between India and Sri Lanka. Economic cooperation and trade between India and Sri Lanka. As we already mentioned that India signed FTA and it is beneficial for both the countries. It is beneficial for both India as well as Sri Lanka. Next important economic cooperation between India and Sri Lanka is India is the largest trading partner of Sri Lanka in South Asia. So of course very common sense, as we have a close proximity. Here is India and here is Sri Lanka. We have a close proximity with each other. So it's common sense that in Sri Lanka is having close relation with India only. So India is the largest trading partner. Akshay asked how Trichonmali port helpful for India. First important thing, as if you know the location, there are 2-3 reasons behind this Trichonmali port. The first thing, we want to help Sri Lanka to develop a world-class port. Why it is so? Because India has to go from this area to this area. If they want to go here in Europe, they have to take a turn from Sri Lanka. and if there is a resting place is there, it it is India wants to develop a container port. It is not a port for the purpose of military only. India wants to develop as a container port so that it can reduce the pressure of ours. That is one thing. Second, strategic importance of this. When you have this port here, you can easily control the Chinese activity in Humban border. Hence, if in case of war in future, then it will be a beneficiary position for India to tackle China at the close range. Clear? Yes, Rajkumar, good afternoon. I think this point is also clear. Next, India is a top investor in Sri Lanka. As you know that FTA is signed between India and Sri Lanka, so it gives us an opportunity to invest in Sri Lanka. So we invested, India invested, and whatever the port we mentioned, Tikoi, yes, Tikoi, my port, that is one of the best example of clip. Okay, so this point is clear to all of you. India signed FTA, beneficial for both. India is the largest trading partner of Sri Lanka in South Asia, and the last, India is a top investor in Sri Lanka. And how it is possible? Because we are having cordial relation with each other. Clear? Next thing, reconstruction activity. India is also playing an important role in Sri Lanka as a welfare measure, welfare approach. As you know that due to the civil war, due to the civil war, there was a vast devastation in northern part of Sri Lanka. Yes, vast devastation in northern part of Sri Lanka. And Sri Lanka is not that much rich country so that they can develop that area. And if they are going to left that area as it is, then again there is a possibility of discontent. Again there is a possibility of discontent among the people, and India doesn't want to provide such an opportunity. India as a good partner, India as a good neighbor, and also we had having sympathy towards the Tamilians. So India started investing in reconstruction activity, and this investment is not for profit, but this investment is basically for welfare of Tamilians in northern part. So India helped Sri Lanka to develop northern part in the form of building houses which were destroyed during the civil war, roads, railways, ports, etc. Yes, India is helping in this aspect. We are helping them by providing houses, roads, railways. Even India is supporting them by developing the ports. So these are the aspects through which India is supporting Sri Lanka. Yes, everyone. Any doubt? Yes, do you have any doubt? Any question? Yes. Is that clear to you? Yes, Akshay, whatever the question you asked, is that clear to you? Or any confusion? Still you have a confusion. Any question you have? Yes, everyone? Any question, any doubt, any query? It's clear to all of you. Okay. So that's all for today's lecture. That's all for today's lecture. Thank you very much for your valuable time. Tomorrow we are going to meet at 8:30. Tomorrow we are going to meet at 8:30 on YouTube channel for World History lecture, same as we are going to meet at 11 o'clock for IR lecture. And today there will be no special class, but tomorrow there will be a special class. So please attend that class. And if you are having any question, any query, you can contact me on the social media platform, including the Telegram channel. And I already gave you my Telegram channel address, that is at Unacademy underscore Harsh V10. This is my code. Yes. So thank you very much for your valuable time. See you tomorrow. And yes, one more thing. If you like this video, please press the like button so that we will get to know that yes, you liked it or not. Okay. So please do that. Thank you very much. Have a good day.